Dark fantasy anime hits different. It's all about grim worlds, twisted monsters, and main characters so overpowered they make raid bosses look like tutorial dummies. Today, we're counting down 6 absolute legends who rule their dark domains. Kicking off with number 6, Ragna Crimson. Now let's be real. Most anime protagonists start weak, struggle, grind through endless training arcs, and finally reach that shiny "I'm strong now" moment. Ragna? Nah, he skips the line like a kid cutting in cafeteria. Our silver-haired dragon hunter decides grinding is for peasants and literally trades his future for power. Boom. Just like that, he's obliterating dragons so hard they probably regret hatching. The series is unapologetically brutal. Dragons here aren't cute little lizard buddies. They're nightmare fuel with wings, spitting death like they're auditioning for the final boss role in every RPG. And Ragna, fueled by despair and rage, slaughters them with terrifying efficiency. Honestly, it makes training arcs in other shows look like filler episodes of Pokemon. It's tragic, bloody, and so dark you'll need to squint just to find a ray of hope. But that's exactly why we're hooked. Ragna isn't just overpowered, he's a one-man apocalypse. This is Emiverse Anime. Watch this video to the end and hit that subscribe button now. Sliding to number 5, Dragon's Dogma. Dragon's Dogma. Netflix finally said, let's take a Capcom RPG, sprinkle in existential dread, and serve it as a 7-episode anime buffet. And against all odds, it wasn't a complete dumpster fire. The story follows Ethan, your average medieval dude who has the worst day ever when a dragon literally rips out his heart. No, not metaphorically like your high school crush. His actual beating heart gets ripped from his chest like a Mortal Kombat fatality. So, what does Ethan do? He powers up, gains ridiculous strength, and begins his revenge quest. But here's the kicker. With every monster he slays, he sinks further into rage and corruption. That power upgrade? Yeah, it comes with a curse. The world is bleak, the monsters are grotesque, and morality is pretty much a coin flip. It's one of those shows where you finish an episode and think, man, Skyrim suddenly feels like a cozy farming sim. Critics weren't in love, but dark fantasy fans? We ate it up. Landing on number 4, Tougen Anki. Okay, anime fans who crave edgy vibes, listen up. Tougen Anki throws you into a blood-soaked world where humans and Oni are locked in eternal beef. Then we meet Shiki, who one day learns, surprise, you're half Oni. Congrats on inheriting terrifying god-tier powers. Typical, right? But Tougen Anki doesn't just give him sparkly power-ups and friendship speeches. Nah, this anime leans into the curse of power. Shiki's abilities are insane, yes, but they're also unstable, horrifying, and constantly pulling him toward darkness. The fights? Savage. The art style? A warning label for don't eat dinner while watching. And the characters? Every single one is rocking enough trauma to fill therapy sessions for decades. Even the villains aren't cartoon clowns. They've got layers of tragedy, which makes every clash feel personal. Shiki being overpowered isn't just a flex, it's a double-edged sword, making you question whether he'll save the world or burn it down. Compared to Tougen Anki, Sasuke's brooding looks like cosplay. Looking at number 3, Clevatess. Now, if you thought the other shows were dark, Clevatess is like the abyss saying, hold my beer. This anime drops us into a nightmare world where humanity is basically food, and the king of beasts, Clevatess himself, wakes up ready to ruin everyone's day. The guy is less antagonist and more walking apocalypse. Our protagonist doesn't just stumble into strength, he comes preloaded with ungodly power, mowing down armies like he's late for a dentist appointment. And unlike typical shonen, there's no cheesy mascot, no sunny speech about friendship, just pure despair. Entire kingdoms crumble, blood floods the battlefield, and survival feels optional at best. Honestly, Clevatess makes most dark fantasy villains look like pushovers. It's violent, unflinching, and sometimes so bleak, you'll pause to ask yourself why you're watching. But then you hit the next overpowered flex, and suddenly you remember, oh right, because it's awesome. This is dark fantasy at its rawest. Dropping into number 2, Goblin Slayer, Goblin's Crown. Goblin Slayer has always been divisive. People either think it's too grim, or they're fist-pumping every time the man in the metal bucket helmet shows up to delete goblins. Goblin's Crown, the movie, doubles down on everything the series is known for. We're talking frozen landscapes, brutal ambushes, and goblins that are actually organized. Like, these little green pests finally read the villain handbook. But here's the thing. No matter how clever the goblins get, Goblin Slayer is always 2 steps ahead. The man is hilariously overpowered, cutting through swarms like he's clearing his to-do list. And the Goblin King? Yeah, he thought he was the final boss. Spoiler, he was more like DLC trash. What makes Goblin's Crown stand out is how it balances the bleak tone with that satisfying payoff of watching Goblin Slayer flex his absurd prep time strategies. He's Batman, but instead of fighting Joker, he's endlessly stomping goblins into extinction. It's violent, gritty, and weirdly addictive. Finally, number 1, the God of High School. Now, I know some of you are ready to yell at me in the comments. That's not dark fantasy, it's a tournament anime. But hear me out. The God of High School doesn't stay just martial arts and tournaments. It throws in gods, demons, apocalyptic powers, and enough supernatural chaos to qualify as a dark fantasy fever dream. Enter Jin Mori, our cheerful martial artist who turns out to be way more than just good at kicks. Spoiler alert, the guy is literally a god in disguise. Once that mask slips, Mori goes from goofy underdog to, did he just punch reality itself? His powers scale so fast, they leave Dragon Ball fights in the dust. Entire landscapes get wrecked mid-battle, the animation goes feral, and by the end, you're just grinning like an idiot watching him flex. Sure, the pacing is faster than a caffeine overdose, and the plot feels like it skipped chapters. But when Jin unlocks his full power, none of that matters. This man redefines overpowered, turning a high school brawl into a cosmic slugfest. If that doesn't count as dark fantasy chaos, I don't know what does. And that wraps up our list. 6 dark fantasy anime where overpowered main characters bend worlds, slay monsters, and occasionally break reality for fun. Which one's your go-to favorite? Did I miss a hidden gem you swear by? Let me know in the comments. Hit that like and subscribe for more anime chaos every single week.